I had just turned 17 that summer, and the night shifts for North Line parcel service were my way of saving money for community college. The job was simple. Pick up sealed packages from the depot, scan the barcode, follow the GPS, drop the parcel, take the photo, leave. Most deliveries were routine. Clean neighborhoods with porch lights on, apartment lobbies with security cameras. Every now and then I'd get a late run to a warehouse on the industrial edge of town where the buildings were gray and the parking lot stayed lit all night. Nothing about it had ever felt dangerous. Just dull, late-night driving, cheap gas station coffee, classic rock on the radio to keep me awake. It was a little after 10:45 p.m. when my dispatcher, Miles, radioed in a last-minute request. A one-off order, small brown box, prepaid, rush delivery. His voice sounded half asleep. "Last run of the night, Dylan. Address is 88 Harlow, Quarry Lane, edge of the county. GPS says 20 minutes. Harlow Quarry Lane rang a faint bell, somewhere past the river, out where the farms gave way to woods and the pavement eventually stopped pretending it was maintained. I didn't argue. More miles meant a slightly bigger payout, at least on paper. I left the depot, crossed the Broadwater Bridge, and followed County Route 6 through dark fields and long stretches of nothing. The air had that late fall bite. Cold enough to make you wonder if it might snow, but not cold enough to be honest about it. The ditches along the road had a thin frost lining them like chalk. Every house I passed was dark except for the occasional blue glow of a TV flickering in a living room window. About 20 minutes in, my cell signal dropped from full bars to one shaky line. That was normal out there. Just empty land, two-lane roads, and distant towers blinking red in the darkness like something breathing slowly. The GPS voice told me to turn left, but what appeared hardly looked like a road. It was a cracked strip of asphalt sinking under weeds, lined with leaning mailboxes that looked like they hadn't been touched in years. I slowed to a crawl and checked the screen again. Arrive in 0.2 miles. Trees closed over the hood, swallowing the last street light behind me. My high beams were the only thing lighting the way now. When the headlights finally washed over the address marker, my stomach tightened. 88 Harlow Quarry Lane, and the property ahead of me didn't look like anywhere I had ever delivered to. A two-story farmhouse sat back from the road at the end of a gravel pull-off. The paint had peeled down to bare gray wood. Every window I could see either had broken glass or warped plywood nailed across it. The porch railing sagged in the middle like it had given up holding itself upright. A newspaper, so old it had yellowed and curled, was stuffed into the mailbox. The red flag was still up. No curtains, no lights, no parked cars, nothing. But the GPS showed the green destination marker like this was a normal stop on a normal route. Destination reached. I killed the engine and listened. Nothing. Just the tick of cooling metal and wind slipping through brittle leaves. There were no dogs barking, no muffled TV noise, no sign anyone had stepped inside that house in years. Company rules said I had to attempt delivery, but everything in me whispered the same thing. This isn't right. I reached for the gear shift to back out, and that's when I heard it. From the front door, 3 slow knocks. Not the hollow tap of a branch, not the rattle of wind, solid wood striking against wood. I froze with my hand still on the keys. A porch post blocked part of my view, but I could make out the front door half open, swaying slightly like whoever knocked had stepped back into the darkness of the house. My phone screen read 11:07 p.m. I pulled up the number listed on the delivery order and called. 2 rings, then voicemail. The message was brief, badly recorded like someone whispering into a tape recorder from across the room. Leave the box and walk away. No name, no greeting, nothing else. Then the line cut. A cold spike ran down my back. If this was a prank, whoever set it up knew exactly what moment I would call. The sensible move was to leave, drive back, log a failed delivery, argue about it tomorrow. But I pictured Miles yawning in the office and the delivery bonus slipping away. I also pictured telling my mother I bailed because a door knocked by itself. Pride won for one stupid moment. I grabbed the package, shoebox-sized, ordinary brown cardboard, no return label, no sender, nothing. I stepped out into the damp gravel. The porch groaned under my sneakers. Up close, the front door looked worse. Old varnish bubbled like burned skin. The knob was missing. The hinge screws were half pulled out like someone had tried to rip it free. Beyond it was darkness so thick it looked solid. I placed the box dead center on the welcome mat. The word welcome was almost worn completely away. I snapped the proof photo and turned to leave. My phone camera flash lit everything for a split second, and when the glare faded, I saw something new. A narrow rectangle of light deep inside the house. Like a flashlight beam aimed at the floorboards, it drifted left, then vanished. That was enough. I jogged back down the steps, shoes slipping slightly on moss, jumped into the driver's seat and turned the key. The starter cranked once, twice, then died with a dry click. I blinked. That made no sense. I'd replaced the battery less than a month ago. I tried again. Nothing. Just a weak dome light flicker. And in the rearview mirror, I saw movement. The front door eased wider. The black gap opened to nearly 2 feet. Nobody stepped out. Instead, the brown box I had delivered slid backward across the porch, scraping wood, moving smoothly like someone had it on a string. But no string was visible, no hand touched it. Then the door swung shut. I yelled, not words, just sound, just panic. I popped the hood release and scrambled out with my flashlight, pretending I was going to check cables, even though I knew I wouldn't find anything. Under the hood, everything looked normal. Clamps snug, leads clean, nothing loose. The flashlight beam trembled in my grip. Then the sound came from the house, a long, slow screech like nails dragged across glass, and somewhere above the porch, a shattered window dropped another shard to the ground with a sharp tink. I slammed the hood and started walking down Harlow Quarry Lane on foot. I held my phone high, trying to pull signal from the air like it was something I could catch. Gravel popped under every step. The noise echoed like it was following me. After 50 yards, a sudden flash lit up behind me. A porch light, except there was no porch light. I knew that. The house had been dead and black. But something bright had flashed behind me anyway. I didn't turn around to check. I didn't want proof. I only wanted distance. The first sign of help came about 15 minutes later. A sheriff's cruiser crested the hill, headlights sweeping the road. I waved both arms until it stopped. The deputy rolled his window down. His name badge read Keller. He looked older than my dad, thick mustache, tired eyes. I tried to explain what happened, but it came out in broken pieces, half coherent. He didn't laugh. He didn't call me dramatic. He radioed it in like it mattered, then he told me to get in. When he turned the cruiser into the gravel pull-off, the headlights painted the porch. The door was closed, window shards glittered, and the box was gone. Deputy Keller kept his spotlight fixed on the steps and drew his sidearm. "Stay here," he said. I didn't argue. He walked up slowly and pushed the front door with 2 fingers. It swung inward smoothly as if the hinges had never sagged. His flashlight bobbed over empty floors, peeling wallpaper. Mounds of insulation stained the color of old tea. A smell rolled out, rot, wet wood, decay. "Clear downstairs," he murmured into his radio. Then he stepped onto the staircase. I watched from the cruiser like a statue. Minutes crawled. Wind rattled the gutter, but nothing else moved. Finally, Keller emerged again. His face was pale under the light. "No power, no furniture, no one inside," he said. Then he paused. "The only thing I've found is this. He held up a small photograph sealed inside an evidence sleeve. A Polaroid. It showed the porch in daylight, same warped board, same worn welcome mat. A box sat on the mat, different from mine. Beneath it, a date was scratched in pen, October 14th, 2016. Later records confirmed that was the same day the Varon family disappeared from the county without a trace. Back at the station, investigators pulled property records. The house had been condemned years earlier, utilities cut, land tied up in probate. Delivery companies blacklisted the address after prank orders showed up a few years back. Why North Line's system had allowed tonight's order through was anyone's guess. Near dawn, I drove home in a loaner van, sleep-deprived and wired, telling myself it was too strange to be afraid of anymore. By noon, curiosity beat exhaustion. I searched the address online and I found something that made my throat tighten. Multiple online listings, free items, porch pickup only, same exact address, posted over and over for months. Every listing vanished after a few hours, no seller replies. Every post ended with the same line: leave the box and walk away. I closed the laptop and tried to forget. Weeks passed. Halloween came and went, cold and quiet. I stopped working night shift, switched to afternoon, started keeping a cheap tire iron under my seat, like that would matter against something like this. Then came December 9th. Sleet hit in the afternoon, and by evening the world felt darker than it should have. I got home from school, tossed my backpack inside, and stepped out onto the porch to check the mail. That's when I saw it. A package resting against my front door. No label, no tape, no shipping marks. Just plain brown cardboard about the size of a shoebox. My stomach folded in on itself. A note was tucked under the twine. It read, "Thank you for your delivery, Dylan. Here's our photo. Thought you should keep it." 88. My hands went numb. I carried it inside without thinking and set it on the kitchen table like it might start breathing. Then I untied it. Inside was the same Polaroid Deputy Keller had shown me. But now a second photo was attached to it with yellow tape. And when I saw the second photo, everything in my body went cold. It was taken from inside the farmhouse, from the darkness of the front hall, pointed through the half-open door. A teenage courier stood on the porch holding a barcode scanner, wearing a company jacket. My jacket. The camera flash had frozen his face mid-blink, mid-fear, mid-realization. My eyes stared back at me from less than a month earlier. I called Keller. He came out, bagged the photos, dusted the cardboard, and found no prints, no fibers, nothing. They promised extra patrols near my home, but admitted they had no idea who or what was behind it. The case went cold before Christmas. I graduated the next spring, left town, moved 2 hours away, buried myself in college classes and dorm noise and the illusion of a normal life. But every few weeks I wake from a half-dream of gravel underfoot, and I hear that voicemail again, a breath against my ear, a whisper like it's in the room with me. Leave the box and walk away. And I still wonder what would have happened if I hadn't.